For years, femininity has been something that we have been taught to shrink into. If you like makeup, you're vain. If you like boys, you're desperate. And if you seek their approval, then you're a pick-me. But what if embracing femininity isn't about pleasing men anymore, but actually about power? Femininity has always been political, but for a long time it wasn't politics, it was a performance. For the male gaze, for societal approval, for survival. And the pick-me girl, she was separating herself from other women, choosing male validation over female solidarity. From the pick-me girl, you will often hear things like, I don't wear makeup, I like to hang with the guys, and girls are too much drama. Let's watch a video.
Emily! Why are you dressed up? Is it to impress guys or something? Then why else would you be dressed up? Oh my god, relax, it's just a joke. Can't even make jokes anymore. I feel like I'm the only girl left with a sense of humor. Right, Oliver? She doesn't get how we joke, right? Oliver, you're leaving? Because I'm annoying? Oh, it's cause she's here. Text me when you get home. I want to hang out with you and the boys.
With this video, obviously it makes you cringe. It's meant to be that way. It's meant to be this hyper stereotype of a pick-me, wearing the baggy clothes, the oversized hoodies, always wanting to be with the guys, not wanting to be with the girls. Basically the real life version of that Wattpad story that you'd always see, where the girl goes to a concert just to read a book, but then somehow ends up getting pointed out by Harry Styles and brought on stage, and then they have this whirlwind romance where really she's always a bit aloof and she wears a messy bun, and you know where I'm going with this, we've all heard it. But putting caricatures and stereotypes to one side, you could actually possibly argue that other women calling pick-me's could actually be pick-me behaviour. This leans perfectly into this video where this girl is talking about new pick-meism. Let's watch.
Pick-me's have evolved in 2025 and we need to watch out for them. They're pretending to be the I hate men girlies because they know being a pick-me is looked down upon in 2025. They know that. And so what they do now is they use this whole like, oh, I hate men. Whole time they're spies. They're working for the men. This whole time their existence is just to please men, right? But they're smart, right? Or they think that they're smart. And they know it's like a trendy thing now to say, oh, I hate men, decenter men. But one of the easiest way to know if somebody's a pick-me is if all their activism and their issues with men is mostly around dating or why they're single. Like they're always complaining about why they're single. Out of all the problems with men in this world, your issue with them is that they don't want to date you. And not only is it desperate and embarrassing, it's very suspicious. So hide behind, oh, I'm such a girl's girl. I love girls. Oh my God, I love girls. To the point it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable because you're like, if you did, you wouldn't be saying it that much. I don't know, it's very interesting. It's like a new wave of pick-meism, right? But some of them are good. Like one of them, she almost got me. So guys, be careful. It's scary out there.
So yeah, essentially as she says, it's this new idea of like, I hate men. I think all men are bad and this and that and the other when it relates to being single and wanting to be in a relationship and those types of things, where you could kind of argue in a way that that could be representative of pick-me behaviour as well. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on that down below. So let's have a look at the cool girl trap. So the cool girl is essentially just the pick-me, but in a different type of way, maybe a more grown-up or different kind of version of the pick-me. She eats pizza, she fixes cars, she watches sports, she's with the guys, but not in like a I always want to be with the guys type of way. She's just cool in that way. But she also looks a particular way. There's not any of the serious messy buns, there's not the oversized clothes. Instead, she just looks flawless and phenomenal 24/7. She's effortless, chill, low maintenance, and completely fake. Let's watch a video.
I figured out why pick-me's exist. Our generation was force-fed the cool girl trope. The cool girl is a character that's invented by men. She loves just drinking beer and hanging out with the guys, playing poker. She knows a lot about cars. She's not afraid of throwing back pizza and hamburgers, but she's also a size 0. And oftentimes, even though she's like impossibly hot, she ends up dating just an average Joe. She's basically every guy's dream. For example, Megan Fox in Transformers. She's super hot, she looks super feminine, but she knows a lot about cars and she's just a big chiller. She's such a cool girl. And even though she's Megan Fox, she ends up with Shia LaBeouf, who's a pretty average looking dude. They love casting Mila Kunis as a cool girl. And forgetting Sarah Marshall, that's her whole character. She's the one that can chill with the guys and throw back beers. She doesn't get in the way of their fun. And her love interest is this guy. Also, Cameron Diaz in Bad Teacher. She's the hot teacher, but she's also the fun, messy, crazy alcoholic. Like, what teacher is really dressing like this for a school car wash? These men wish. Robin in How I Met Your Mother, always hanging out with the guys, always drinking whiskey. Also Donna from That 70s Show. She's hot, she's cool, she loves to wrestle, and she's dating this little guy. So basically, the cool girl trope was teaching us to be pick-me's. Just be chill, eat the pizza, drink the beer with the guys, but also be a size 0 and be impossibly hot. Play sports and video games with them. Put back alcohol like they do. Look super feminine, but don't have feminine interests. These characters were written by average-looking guys, and they're based on their fantasies. We, as women, internalize them and set these impossible standards for ourselves, and the pick-me was born.
In this way, yes, it is completely fake. I'm not saying that girls who are genuinely like this, that this is their personality, that they're completely fake. That's not true. But we do see these types of stereotypes, and we do see it from what she exactly said of it being a male fantasy. It is this idea of look feminine, but don't actually be feminine in the way of feminine characteristics, of having feminine, so-called feminine hobbies and traits and those type of things. It's like they want you to look like a woman, but they actually want you to be like a guy. And I think the reason that we see this so much, why this is so talked about, the cool girl, the pick-me culture, all those types of things, is because we have seen it so much growing up. As she said, people like Megan Fox and basically every single girl trope in like a male-orientated movie had this persona. So it's no wonder why we, as women and young girls, felt the need to kind of replicate this behavior and this look. This version doesn't seem like it's authentic femininity in that way. It seems like it is made up by a man. It's written by a man to be as non-threatening as possible, to completely just lean into the male fantasy. But here's the thing, when we reject femininity to seem better than other women, you're not actually dismissing patriarchy, but you're in fact just uplifting it. Let's have a look at the feminine reclamation, because something has certainly shifted and women have started to take femininity into their own and just throwing away the whole idea of approval. Women got tired of shrinking themselves for approval and tired of fighting over scraps of validation. Now femininity seems to be being reclaimed, not for men, but actually just for ourselves.
It has been a long journey of unlearning the male gaze, redefining what makes me feel pretty, and figuring out how I want to present myself in a way that's authentic to me and not just trying to meet the beauty standard or get male validation. I don't really know. I know it probably sounds stupid, but it's genuinely a huge deal for me that I stopped fake tanning. I'm doing my makeup differently. I'm evolving and I'm growing, okay? So my next mission is my wardrobe, and I have spent so much of my life rejecting my femininity and being ashamed of being a girly girl and trying to be more like one of the boys to be cool, and that's just not who I am. And so I bought a bunch of clothes on Depop that do reflect who I feel that I am.
See how she says that she stopped doing all of these things for the male gaze. She stopped trying to be this cool girl. She stopped wearing fake tan when she just didn't actually want to. She was doing it to impress others, and then she actually realized that how she wanted to be was actually in this kind of more hyper feminine, pink, girly, with the pearls, with the sparkles, with everything, which is what we're seeing more women lean into. Wearing pink on purpose, crying in public, being soft and loud all at the same time. It's not a cry for attention, but it's actually a rejection of the male gaze altogether. Interestingly as well, it is something that the queer community is actually reclaiming too. Let's watch. What she's talking about specifically in this video is Chapel Roan, the singer, as she's singing one of her songs, but I will have to mute it due to copyright issues. But basically, it's about hyper-femininity, and it's about going so far into femininity and hyper-femininity that it actually detracts from the male gaze. It makes it so much so that men are actually no longer interested, and it's kind of done in this specific way, but also it's representative of who they want to be and how they want to live their lives and present to the world. But here's where the internet can get it twisted, because not every feminine woman is a pick-me. We do often see things like tradwifism and that kind of, I guess, more conservative nature, and those conservative influences who have that kind of traditional style and outlook of women being feminine, which can kind of seep into our minds as being something that therefore goes in the opposite direction of feminism, I suppose. We've always had this traditional idea of, because you're a feminist, you've got to look a specific way. Because you want women to have rights, you have to act a certain way. And that's obviously not true, but I think that this rise in being a trad wife and that kind of ideal and aesthetic at the moment is something that is certainly kind of hindering possibly the view of this hyper-femininity style, and also the idea of femininity as a reclamation. I think it's also important to note that not every pick-me or presentation of what you might think is a pick-me is someone who is actually trying to be a pick-me. It could be someone who is completely living authentically and is not actually aware of what she's doing in that way. And therefore, I think the difference here is intention. Are you performing femininity for approval, or are you expressing it for yourself? Just as a kind of side note, I suppose, someone who really does, I feel, represent that kind of pick-me way of thinking and being and ideology to a T, possibly, is Pearl from Just Pearly Things. Let's watch a video.
Many women were not raised to be wives or told what a wife is, and there are many men across this country paying the price. What I have found is that many men in this country suffer in silence. And so many times, what I hear from women is complaining about the little things in relationships or in life. And oftentimes what I find is that men are belittled and put down by their wives across this country, and they just suffer in silence. Many men are in marriages and they just suffer in silence. Many women were not raised to be wives or told what a wife is, and there are many men across this country paying the price. I asked men, what are some of the ways you have felt disrespected in a relationship that your significant other may not be aware of? The number one complaint that men had of how women disrespect them in a relationship is disclosing too much to your female friends. It's us first, not your gossip group.
So if you don't know, Pearl is known for this type of red pill, right-wing male content in a way, yet she's obviously a woman, she's a female who is making this from the other side. So her whole thing is that everything in today's society generally is all down to women, the wrongs that is, and that men are actually, as she says, being belittled, they're downtrodden on, and they're actually entirely the victims of all the ills in society, which of course is from women and the current structure that there is in place today. You could actually argue though, however, that this is actually down to patriarchy spreading these types of standards and this narrative that men need to be a particular way, this stereotype of masculinity and this ingrained culture of men needing to suffer in silence, but that's a whole video for another day. But arguably, this is a true representation right here of pick-meism, having the whole lifestyle, the whole ideals of being a pick-me, of basically orchestrating your entire life to be towards the male gaze in this way. But anyway, femininity is not a competition. It's not about being desperate. It's just yours and it's how you think it should be. However, I do think we are seeing a rise in femininity as resistance. In a world that punishes women for being too much or not enough, choosing femininity is a radical act. It says, I can love beauty and still be taken seriously, I can be emotional and still be intelligent, and I can uplift other women without competing. I think the real rebellion here is not rejecting femininity, but redefining it in our own terms, which is certainly something that we're seeing across all platforms online. So what does femininity mean to you? Are you redefining it, reclaiming it, rewriting it, or do you actually even think about it at all? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!